What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, and this is the Philly Talk Podcast, and we are back to continue to push on. I love the pettiness of the Philadelphia Eagles Twitter page. Continue to push on. You got to love it. You absolutely have to love it. The pettiness of the Packers to propose the ban, then try to revise it one day before to make it look like they're not attacking the Eagles. Jeff Lurie brought in the big guns today. Jason Kelsey flew out to Minneapolis. Jason Kelsey was in the building to shut up the comments made by, I believe, the assistant Bills owner, talking about some Jason Kelsey retired because of the burden of the Tush push, aka brotherly shove. I only call it the Tush push to make so it's nationally known, but it's the brotherly shove over here, and we will continue to push on. The Eagles admin on Twitter could have used any team, any brotherly shove, but they continued to push on and showed it versus the Packers. And for Notification Gang, I want Notification Gang to notice early and often, because we're going to talk about it a couple times throughout this episode. We don't got time to do a recorded video, but the voting was 22-10. The crazy part is the Packers got beat by the Eagles twice last year, but in the biggest game, wild card weekend of the playoffs, the Eagles beat the Packers 22-10. And the Packers, who proposed the Tush push, aka brotherly shove proposal to be banned, lost 22-10. The Eagles beat them on the field 22-10 and beat them at the debate table 22-10. Shout out to the real team that it ain't Packer made. That's the new word. If I want to call somebody outside of football a P word, it's no longer the P word. Man, stop acting like a Packer. Hey, yo, for real, though, that's what we going to do from now on. And again, as if you've been watching the channel, you know that we weren't really worried about the brotherly shove ban simply because A.J. Dillon, thank you, Packers, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, the offensive line. You got a guy like Harrison Bryant who did it with the Raiders and the Browns. You got a guy like Ty Robinson who lined up 8 times in Nebraska as a fullback and converted 7 of 8. You add linebacker Ben Van Sumeren as a full-time fullback. Like, we were preparing for this. The league tried to play like it's becoming soft, but the real ones came to the table and said no. And shout out to Jason Kelsey for flying to Minneapolis and explaining the brotherly shove is not why he retired. It's not that much of a burden. Jeff Lurie should have said in front of everybody, it's the safest play in football. And all the owner's excuses was how not safe it is. Jeff Lurie got up and said, it's the safest play in football. Stop the cap. Stop acting like a Packer. Hey, yo, I can't get enough of that. Push on. The crazy thing is, they're going to continue to do it. Since it wasn't banned, when you see the Packers on 3rd and 1, they're going to try to do it. Bills, they're going to try to do it. Same with the Falcons. They're all going to try to do it. And they do convert, just not at the rate the Philadelphia Eagles do. The Bills lost in the playoffs to the Chiefs because they were unsuccessful. Not only because of it, but a big part of their loss is coming up short, turnover on downs, trying to do the brotherly shove. They don't care about doing it or not doing it. They just don't want us to do it. Do we brotherly shove our way to 55 points in the NFC Championship? Did we brotherly shove our way to a beatdown BTA versus the Kansas City Chiefs? No. You're not up 34-6 by just brotherly shoving. You're not beating it. You're not dropping 55 points from brotherly shoving. But the crazy thing is, and it's not karma, but what a coincidence. Eagles beat the Packers 22-10 in the playoffs. Send them boys packing, pun intended. And then the vote comes back, and it's 22-10 in favor of the brotherly shove staying at least for one more year. They're trying to table the discussion to even further down the road, but the further down the road will still won't be able to stop it for 2025. I heard, and again, I don't know how true this is, that they're trying to table it again to the middle of the season, which would mean if they vote it finally now in the middle of the season, it won't be able to stop being used in 2025, but they'll still try to stop it for 2026. Y'all can do whatever y'all like at this point. Yeah, football can be finesse. You got wide receivers catching deep balls. You got, mesh routes looking so pretty and passing yards and this, that, and the third. But football was founded on I'm stronger than you. I'm tougher than you. Football was founded on I'm not going to run around you. I'm going to run through you. They didn't even have pads back in the day, and they were smacking against each other. Pause. Football was founded by its physicality, its toughness. And that's why what really sets football teams apart? The trenches, where it gets down and dirty. We've seen teams with pretty wide receivers not make the playoffs, a la the Cincinnati Bengals. Shoot, Randy Moss was living his best life with the Vikings and other teams. Like, before he got to the Patriots, he ain't never see a Super Bowl, and he didn't win it. But you know what I'm saying? Like, great skill position players is great to have, for sure. It makes your team better. But the trenches are still the foundation of football. And the trenches can make a secondary look better than what it is on the defensive side, and it could make a running back. Look, I don't want to poo-poo on Miles Sanders. Well, now he's a Dallas Cowboy. But, I mean, you go from 1,300 yards in a Super Bowl appearance with the Eagles to not being able to do anything with the Panthers, and now you're with the Cowboys, so we can't be wishing you good luck. But you see what I'm saying? Saquon Barkley went from a really a good player with the Giants to the best offensive player in the NFL. Just like that. The brotherly shove is here to stay. Gotta love it. And I love the pettiness of the Eagles admin. Push on right in front of the Packers. We play you week 10, baby boy. Shout out to Alex L with the $5 super chat. First one of the day, celebrating the victory in the Tush Push for the national media, a.k.a. brotherly shove. Like the Eagle sweatshirt you got on too, Alex. $5 super chat. He said, wonder how salty the Green Bay people were leaving that meeting. Go Birds. Man, I'm telling you. Alex said, I wonder how salty the Packers people were leaving that meeting. They were probably super salty. First off, when Lori walked into the building, chest all out, Jason Kelce right behind them, the Packers were like, oh, shit. Oh, why they bringing a Hall of Fame center, Jason Kelce, to prove that what was said via the Buffalo Bills assistant owner is not true at all? They brought the big guns out. Alex, it is great to wonder, but we got to know that there was a heavy amount of salt. They had to walk out of here like, well, they look dumbfounded, especially if you were following the tea leaves. If the Packers people prior to today was following the tea leaves, Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, Diana Rusani, Even Dan Blandino, when they talked about should it be banned? No. But will it be banned? Most likely. You heard every outlet and every insider, whether it's nationally, I mean, it was just every single person who can put their finger on it. They would have betted and or guessed that it would have been banned due to the climb, the momentum, the tabling, the fact that Roger Goodell never liked it. And again, these insiders simply said, I don't believe you should ban any play that one team just does better than the other. But they believed it was going that way because of the tea leaves. So the Packers watching Jeff Lurie come in, King Kong beating his chest, Jason Kelsey like, hey, what's that I heard you said about me saying I retired? Put some perspective for the league. Hey, mind you, prior to all 32 NFL owners getting inside the meeting room, the competition committee voted to ban it. The health committee voted to ban it. Competition is competition. You're trying to make the game more competitive. So you stop a play that is competitive. Huh? Competition committee, you did a horrible job. And your vote don't count. But you tried to ban it. Health committee, man, you're going to vote against a brotherly shove. As Jeff Lurie said, the safest play in the NFL. It is factually documented that is the safest play. Patrick Mahomes literally got hurt on a quarterback sneak. A regular QB sneak without that formation, without them bodies protecting other people. I don't know how I remember, but go back and check. Type in Patrick Mahomes injured on quarterback sneak. He did. But the brotherly shove is not a quarterback sneak. It's a whatever you want to call it. Anyways, it's good. The salt is at an all-time high for Green Bay. Again, if you're just getting in here, hit the like button. Everybody should be smashing a like for a big W in the success of keeping the brotherly shove. The national media calls it the Tush Push. Hit the like, subscribe to the channel. We do live streams and we drop videos. I love the pettiness and push on. Alex just said it perfectly with the $2 super chat. Appreciate the love and support. Although he got the yellow jacket on for a second, I was thinking he was a Packer fan. I'm just kidding, Alex. He said, stop being a Packer for sure. Shoot, if my son is being a crybaby or like, yo, stop being a, yo, that's the 2025 saying for me all the way through. Ham Solo with the $2 super chat. He said Packers were the fall guys. It was Roger Goodell. You're right. Listen, Packers were the fall guys, but to be the guys who be the fall guys, you got to be soft. You got to be, you know what I mean? For Roger Goodell to say, hey, which one of you 31 owners, because of course the Eagles weren't going to be on that phone call. Which one of the 31 owners want to be the fall guy and vote the proposal to get out the brotherly shove? I'll back you as much as I can. But yes, Roger Goodell said it multiple times prior to this year, prior to the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, prior to it being like possibly banned. When asked about the brotherly shove, he said it's not a fun play to watch. I forgot the exact term. Somebody let me know in the comment section. It's not cosmetically good, or it's not. There's a word he said. I don't care. He said the play don't look good. Roger Goodell did not like this play from the get-go. And as the Eagles continue to be the team that was most successful, his hatred probably just grew more. Bills did it a lot. Packers did it with Jordan Love and their tight end. Other teams done it all throughout. Just not as successful as the Eagles. As more the Eagles were successful, he hated it more. It took the Eagles really getting a Super Bowl win for him again to do what I believe Ham Solo said. Ask one of the guys, one of the owners to do it. But the Packers were the one that jumped on the sword. And because they are the NFL crybabies. The NFL. And so all 2025, I'm still coming to the table, calling anybody who's acting like a Packer. Eagles Nest 13.52 with the $10 super chat, biggest one of the day so far. He said, LOL, bleep the pack. It's go birds. Push on. That's another thing we're going to be talking about all 2025 on this channel. You know how Kendrick Perkins says carry on? Kendrick Perkins says carry on a lot. Philadelphia, we got to keep that push on. From now on, when I see you in the street, it's go birds and push on. Shout out to Eagle Nest 13. It ain't, at least for the 2025 season, it ain't just go birds no more. And again, what's the best way to see an Eagle fan? You don't even need to know the Eagle fan. You walking down the street and somebody's wearing Eagles gear. They got an Eagles shirt, Eagles hat. If they got anything on their body, Eagle. You say go, you don't even say good morning. Go birds is the way to say good morning, good afternoon, how you're doing. That's it. Simple and plain. And if you ever say go birds to a person wearing the Eagles gear and they don't say it back to you, then they're not a true Eagle fan. They either wearing that hat or shirt because they found it or got it for a gift, or I don't even know why they're wearing it. You might need to snatch it off their head. I'm just kidding. Don't be like that. But it is from now on, at least for me, it's go birds, push on. It's a tied sentence. It's a tied statement for at least the rest of 2025. I'm rocking with it. Shout out to Eagle Nest. Go birds, push on. Love it. That's a bar. Bloody Shot, HVACR with the $5 super chat. Appreciate the love and support. And again, whether you're super chatting, regular commenting, and or hitting the like button, we all need to be at least hitting the like button simply because we get to push on. And there's 10 teams that are really mad. The 22 teams, there might have been teams who were on the edge, teeter-totting, just didn't want to be Packer made. So they voted the right way. The Eagles better run the ball at the 1 yard line just so we can run the tush push against the Packers. Listen, I'm expecting a heavy push tush, aka brotherly shove session on week 10 when we play the Packers. Is that a home game? Is that a home game? It doesn't even matter where it is. I'm with you, Bloody Shot. The Eagles better run the ball at the 1. Run the ball to the 1 just so we can run the tush push against the Packers. Again, Jalen Hurts had about what I would say like 7 or 8 brotherly shove touchdowns. So with that being the case, there's a good percentage chance that we get a touchdown on the brotherly shove versus the Packers. And even if we don't get the brotherly shove touchdown, you know how mad it is? You know how mad they're going to be when it's 4th and 1? It's 4th and 1. Say the game is semi-close in the third quarter. It's 4th and 1. They're down by 7. We're on our side of the field. But close, like at the 47. Nick Sirianni calls for the brotherly shove. They get a stop here. They have a short field and a chance to tie. And we brotherly shove a first down. The very next play, maybe a pass to AJ for a tub. Maybe a handoff to Saquon for a tub. And just to know that now we're up 14 and you let us convert, which could have flipped the momentum on a brotherly shove. Absolutely agree. The teams that were crying need to be documented, and we need to at least run it a couple times. Shoot. Whether it's the Packers or any of the other 9 teams that voted against us, I ain't even mad if it's 2nd and 3. It could be 2nd and 3. There's no way a 2nd and 3 with 2 or 3 brotherly shoves ain't going to convert, because we don't only get 1 yard on the brotherly shove. Sometimes the brotherly shove gets us like 3 or 4 yards, like not 2 to 3 yards. Let me not get too ahead of myself. But there have been times I watched the brotherly shove get 2, 3, maybe 4 yards on the extra, hand out when Jalen rolls off somebody. Hey, it's going to be funny when it's 2nd and 3. Brotherly shove, first down. Or brotherly shove, 2 yards. Brotherly shove, now first down. we're not doing that against the 22 respectable organizations that said, we don't want to ban Philly from doing it. We want to try to stop them. Because football was founded on who's more tougher, who's more physical, who's more stronger, who got more heart, not who's Packer made. So I'm with you. Storm 7 with the $2 super chat. 22 teams wanted to ban it. Oh, it's the opposite. I've been saying the whole time. Hold up. Yeah, you're right. Okay, you're right. Scratch the first 25 minutes of this, low key. It was the opposite way. 22 teams were Packer made, and only 10 teams had the stones to say we're not going to be Packer made. They needed 24 votes. That's why I was confused, because more people wanted it banned, but they needed to at least reach 22, which was more than what they got in May. So they're still trying to push this narrative, because I think they only had 16 or 18 in May. They needed 24 and they got 22. So 10 teams. There's 10 respectable organizations. Shout out to Storm 7 for correcting me. And again, I literally was driving home and this came up. So I didn't really get to read much. I wanted to read more with y'all, but I just been leaving this push on thing up and having my fun talking about it. Shout out to Storm 7. And probably a bunch of y'all said it. I just wasn't looking at the chat as much. We gonna correct it though for the people who were watching earlier. Henry Baxton with the $2 super chat. Mike, we need a Don't Be a Packer merch. We might have to do something like that, even though that name on the shirt just look ugly to me now. I didn't really hate the Packers that much in the past. But now, I'm with you, Henry Braxton. Shout out to you. $2 super chat. Been rocking with the channel for a long time. Ariel Mass with the membership for 27 months. Fly Birds from Dallas. Brotherly shove works. It absolutely works. Keisha said NFL knew if the play was banned, Eagles still get a tubby. You already know. Shout out to Ron P for letting me know too. Again, I don't know why. Again, I jumped on here quick, but y'all absolutely right. 10 teams decided not to ban it. 22 teams tried to ban it. So still the majority of the league hates us, or hates that play, I should say. Majority of the league hates that play. But it is what it is. They're going to have to deal with it for the 2025 season. And again, it makes more sense now that Roger Goodell is still trying to table it for a in-season meeting, which even if the in-season meeting goes their way, it will still stay for the whole 2025 season. That makes more sense, where I heard somebody comment that. So 22 organizations voted to ban the brotherly shove. 10 said we're not voting to ban it. And so there we go. Makes sense now. Again, I went for the 22 to 10 the opposite way, but I forgot that they needed 24 votes to get it banned. So 22 is more than 10. Majority wanted it banned, but not enough to get the play banned. Shout out to y'all for reminding me. Let me know. Green Wingman with the $5 super chat. This narrative trying to stop the play has been embarrassing from the start. Curious about the 22 teams that voted for this. Yes. And again, for those who are in here before and just getting in here or coming back, my bad. I was saying 22 teams voted no ban and 10 voted to ban. It's the opposite. Only 10 teams stood tall. Well, 9 teams, because one of them 10 were definitely the Philadelphia Eagles. Probably the Colts and the Cardinals, just off of head coaching opportunities coming from being a former Eagle. But the narrative trying to stop the play has been embarrassing. I absolutely agree with you, Green Wingman. They try to use the safety issue. They try to use every issue in the book instead of stopping it. 22 teams are Packer made, not 10. 22 teams are Packer made for sure. But the 10 teams, the 9 teams that stuck with us, it's important to get every single vote because, again, 22 is really close to 24. And if they would have got 24 votes, it would have been banned. We do need the 22 teams for receipts, though, for sure. And the idea of banning a play just because a team is good at it is ridiculous. They try to spew a bunch of different things. Health and safety. The play doesn't look cosmetically good. This, that, and the third. But man, nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. So I'm glad we were able to keep it for at least the 2025 season. To get 8 out of 16 owners to change their mind in a month was hardly likely, but they got close. Got to be quicker than that. I'm with you, Joe. That's why it was tabled. So 16 people didn't like it. 16 people voted to ban it earlier in the early meetings. Now 22 this time. The Bills are definitely one that wanted to ban it, although they run it almost as much as the Eagles, which is crazy to me. They literally lost in the playoffs trying to run it. Got to get like the Eagles, I guess, if you want to run it right. If you want to run it right. 22 teams. We got to get, hopefully it comes out, probably not right now, but hopefully it comes out, all 22 teams that voted to ban it, because we definitely going to run it up in them games. The Packers are going to get the biggest draw of it. The biggest draw of it. It's crazy. 22-10 is crazy. You know who said if you can't stop it, then do it yourself and make the Eagles stop yours. Fair. Exactly. Hey, the brotherly shove, or nobody runs a brotherly shove but us, but the tush push has been ran on us. And sometimes we stopped it, sometimes they converted on us. We don't complain. We just put our heads down and keep playing. They talk about the cosmetics of it. They talk about everything that don't matter. A 1-yard run don't look cosmetically good either. But when did football just become about the pretty plays and not about the physicality and toughness? When did football change? Yes, there's more spread offense. There's more wide receivers. There's different personnel. There's playmakers. You know, Saquon's not just running through people. He's juking people, jumping over people. There's pretty plays. A 1-yard run is as cosmetically disturbing looking as 1-yard run from the quarterback being pushed. David Archer with the $10 super chat. The amended rule the Packers wanted would have stopped all ball carriers assistance, even if the runner was 10 yards down the field. That's why the ban failed today. Maybe. I agree with you. And if you watched my video yesterday, I said that. The wording in the revised copy that the Packers submitted a day before the actual meeting suggested no pushing and pulling on any ball carrier, no matter where on the field. So again, you got that running back who gets stood up by a pile and is still fighting for yards, and the offensive line comes and pushes a little bit and he falls forward for 2 yards to get the first down. That would be a 10-yard penalty as well. However, back before the rule change, the revised statement came out, when we left April, there were 16 organizations that wanted to ban the brotherly shove, aka tush push, whatever you want to call it. Today, when we left, there was 22. So they got 6 more votes, but they can't ban it without 24. And that's where I was messed up in the beginning of this video. I was saying 22 people voted on our side and 10 voted against it. It's the opposite. But the reason I was backwards is because when you first say 22 people actually wanted to ban it and only 10 voted to keep it, how did they win? It's not about majority rules. It's about You have to get to 24 votes for a rule to be changed. Has to be not just majority, but 24 out of 32. So if the voting ended 24-8, it would have been banned. But because it was 22 Packer-made players, if you're just getting here, we talking Packers as bleeps. There were 22 organizations that were cowardly, crybaby, the B word, and the new P word is Packer made. There were 22 organizations that wanted it gone. 10, including the Eagles, stood strong. And because them 10 stood strong, they couldn't get to 24. But I do agree, David Archer, in general, the rewording, the revised copy was just really ugly to say that, because it happens all the time. A wide receiver with yak is trying to get the first down, fighting for more yards. Here comes the tight end or linebacker or offensive lineman and pushes him. That would be considered the same thing. Green Wingman with the $5 super chat. Watch as we run the anything. He said, watch as we run the anything other than the brotherly shove on the 1 yard line. Convert it just to prove we didn't need it and it to be spiteful. Well, now look, we don't always automatically go to the brotherly shove. Like if you get to the 1 yard line or you get to the 1 or 2 yard line and it's first and goal, sometimes they try to run it in regularly. I don't want to do nothing uncharacteristically that could hurt us, right? Like on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, you just run it just because to be spiteful. I mean, it's all cool. Shoot, Green Wingman, if we're up, 24-10 or 22-10, I should say, and you're about to score again, sure, why not? I do want to prove to the NFL, and I was ready to prove to the NFL, not me, but watch the Eagles prove to the NFL that they could do it running the ball with Saquon, A.J. Dillon, using fullback packages, using different packages here and there. And I couldn't wait for the first 3rd and 1, I formation, fullback in, 13 personnel. The defense knows we're running, right? 3 tight ends or 2 tight ends, a fullback. There's heavy personnel, which would have the defense know we're running. We hand it to Saquon. He fights for the first yard. He fights for 1 yard, but after getting to 1 yard, breaks a tackle. Someone misses a tackle. Instead of getting only 1 yard, he runs it 40 plus for a tub. Then I can look at the team and say, well, you were one of the 22 teams that voted against us. And guess what? If we brotherly shoved there, we would have got the 1 yard, got the first down, and then you would have had another chance to stop us. But because you voted against it, that 1 yard turned into a 40-yard tub. The Eagles have the firepower to do exactly what you say. Score on the 1 yard line any way they want. Jalen can run it in on a RPO, throw it to AJ, throw it to Goddard, throw it to Saquon in the flats, run it with Saquon, run it with the fullback, run it with whoever. Shoot, the regular quarterback sneak could work with this O-line and this 600-pound squatting quarterback. I'm with you. Should be fun. Mr. 89 with the $5 super chat. Appreciate all the love and the support, all the supers, everybody who hit like, everybody who was correcting me about the 22-10. Because there were so many supers, when there's not that many supers, I normally can filter the chat a lot easier. Can't pick every chat, but I can filter it easier. I would have saw y'all correcting me earlier before I went on that little 10-minute rant. But regardless of the rant or not, 22 people hate us, which is worse than 10. But it don't matter if they hate us. They can't stop it because they needed 24 votes. Mr. 89, been a supporter for a long time, said, I want a win against one of the teams that wanted it banned, where every offensive play is the brotherly shove, and we go win it 3-0. Go Birds. Again, that's impossible to do. However, if we were going to give one team the absolute toughest brotherly shove treatment, it would have to be the Packers. There's 22 teams that are Packer made. 22 teams wanted to see the Eagles not be able to use it. But the Packers signed their name on it as the proposal person. So if we had to pick one team out of the 22, it gotta be the Packers for sure. At least 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Love it. I would love them to line up like something more realistically, Mr. 89. All right, so the Eagles, 1st and 10. They drop back on first down. Hike looking, find Smitty. Smitty falls forward for a gain of 7. It is 2nd and 3. Imagine the Eagles calling for a brotherly shove. Tush push, a.k.a. brotherly shove, on 2nd and 3. There's been times where the Eagles get 1 yard, 2 yards, and 3. You can get 3 on a brotherly shove, but say they didn't. 2nd and 3, brotherly shove. 3rd and 2, brotherly shove. First down. Now, I don't do that all the time, but I would love to do that second down brotherly shove on a team like the Packers because they are just ridiculous. Eric, old head young bull Stewart with the $5 super chat. The Tush push lives on, Mike. Yes. Tush push, aka brotherly shove, lives on for one more week and 1 more year. Again, my bad to everybody. I was saying 22-10 the opposite way. Only 9 teams and 10 teams, which is 9 including the Eagles, said, no, we want the brotherly shove to stay. It is a safe play. Anybody can run it. Why do we have to stop it? Because we're good at it. 22 teams said, but they're just too good. They're just too good. We got to ban it. We got to ban it. Instead of us running it ourselves, let's ban it. And that's the word I was looking for. Shout out to Chris V. Aesthetics, not cosmetics. It's not aesthetically pleasing, Roger Goodell said. It's not aesthetic. This was before the banning proposal. Roger Goodell, since 2021, 2020, 2022, has been saying that the tush push, aka brotherly shove, is not as aesthetically pleasing. It's not a fun play to watch. Either is a 1 yard, either is hand the ball off to the fullback that falls forward. Old school football, smash mouth football, I formation. That's the quarterback under center, a fullback directly behind the quarterback, and a running back directly behind the fullback. You either hand it to the running back and use the fullback as a lead blocker and fall forward for a yard, or you just give it right to the fullback and he falls forward for a yard. That is not the A word pleasing either. As aesthetically pleasing either. But we're not looking to ban that. Fly Robert Fly with the $2 super chat. Appreciate the love. AFC teams were 7 out of 10. Okay. So, oh wow. So out of the 10 teams that voted for the continuous play of the brotherly shove, 7 of them were in the AFC. I'm thinking Colts, 1. So that means only 3 teams were NFC teams. Eagles, Cardinals, and I'm not sure who else. But of course, it would make sense that the AFC, who don't play us unless, or they play us, but nothing really important into the Super Bowl, would be on our side. The NFC teams are scared. Maybe every single NFC team probably voted against us. There's 16 NFC teams and 16 AFC teams. Who's to say every NFC team didn't vote against us? Five AFC teams, 5 NFC teams. That's what you're saying? Where y'all seeing that at? Where y'all seeing it at? I'm trying to look and see where y'all seeing that. If you know on Twitter who has the actual information of if any of it came out yet about who did what, let me know. Sandra said, well, Goodell is not aesthetically pleasing either, but his ass is still around. Shout out to Sandra. You're right about that. Roger Goodell is an employee of the 32 owners. That's a good one. Roger Goodell trying to get rid of the brotherly shove because it's not pleasing to the eye. When nobody likes when he comes out. Listen, he comes out every single draft and he gets booed every single draft. Every single draft. The last 10 years, when Roger Goodell steps out on that stage, he gets booed. As aesthetically pleasing is not a reason to ban a play. Safety issues when there's been no injuries is not a reason to ban a play. I'm not sure if anything has been confirmed as it pertains to what teams did what. There have been some I've seen. I don't know where to find it now. I saw somebody posted it up. But in tomorrow's video, because we won't do a video today, but we'll have a video out tomorrow, probably afternoonish. By then, by the end of the night, they'll have out every single team most likely that voted this way or this way. Once again, thank y'all for correcting me. I jumped on here right after that, flew home. I was already on I was getting off the highway when my phone vibrated that it happened. So I just ran up here, didn't really see anything. But when I first thought of it, 22-10, I'm thinking, well, 22, the bigger number had to be us, but it's not. I forgot that they needed 24 votes to actually scrap it. And although 22 people tried to get it scrapped, the 10 people that stood tough with us was enough to keep the 22 from reaching 24. And so all 2025, you'll see the brotherly shove. And again, if we get the consensus that we're going against a team that don't like it, we all should be calling for it more. Mr. Manu with the $2 super chat. The Cowboys suck. You can always say that. On brotherly shove approval day, on week 1, during the middle of the season, during their bye week, during our bye week, during the loneliest part of the offseason. As an Eagle fan, it is always fun and always just the right thing to do, or say, I should say, when you say the Cowboys suck. Absolutely. This is why we all love Philly 500. Because in every video he does, the Cowboys still stink. And he's absolutely correct. AJ Jones with the $2 super chat. I need to know the 10 who said no. There was 10 teams who said no to the banning. One of them was the Eagles, of course. But the 9 other teams, I want to keep it funky with them. You know? There's 9 other teams, because one of the 10 is, of course, the Eagles. But I do want to know the 9 teams that didn't want the Eagles to be hurt by anything. They said, if we're going to stop the Eagles, tush push, a.k.a. brotherly shove, we're going to do it on the field. We're not going to cry. We're not going to be Packer made. There were 9 teams who were 10 toes on the ground about stopping the Eagles the right way, not crying. But then there was 22 crybabies, 22 Packer-made organizations that literally said, bruh, we can't stop the Eagles. We can't stop them. We want to vote to ban it. My boy Dak is back. I mean, what's that supposed to do to me? Dak is back. Did you see the quarterbacks we beat on our way to the Super Bowl? Pat Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, another Super Bowl champion, Jaden Daniels, who had supposedly the best rookie season of ever. Shoot, Jordan Love. I mean, we Dak was on your team for a couple of your playoff pushes. How many times did Dak get you out of the first round? Just saying. Dak Prescott is a good quarterback in the regular season. That's where my sentence stops. I'm not going to come up here and absolutely lie. Dak Prescott is a good quarterback when healthy in the regular season. My sentence finishes there, period. It's not a comma and more going on. The sentence is over. The book is closed. He's a good quarterback in the regular season. Got to get out of the first round. He did get out once, then lost in the divisional. Forgot about that. They beat the Lions. I think it was a rookie season or something. He hasn't won in the divisional round. That's what I'm saying. He got out the first round once. When Dak is playing, your chances of winning are better. But he's been your quarterback for a long time. And we haven't seen you got past the divisional round. That's pretty much it. So until we see something, I can't play off the what ifs. Just can't do it. T.Y. Gent said, I'll be really surprised if the Cowboys were one of the teams that voted to keep the Tush Push. I would say no. I don't think so. Now that we're saying 10 teams voted to keep it, one of them is the Eagles. I'm going to guess that one of them is the Colts and the Cardinals, just off GP of the coaches that got like Gannon and Steichen. I heard the Lions voted on our side. So I can't wait to see what comes out as it pertains to telling us who's on what side. But again, there were 22 people against us. Only 10, including us, for us. Atar Navarro with a $2 super chat. NFC teams to vote in favor. Birds, Cards, and Lions. Okay, so that makes sense. Eagles, Cardinals, Lions were the 3 NFC teams, and the other 7 were the AFC teams, which wouldn't have to really play the Eagles in its totality for an important game into the Super Bowl. I know there's one AFC team that didn't vote for us, probably the Chiefs. Dana Scott said, and Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl MVP. Yes. Listen, Cowboy fans, if you address Jalen Hurts, you do got to say Super Bowl MVP on side of his name. That is part of his legacy now. You just can't be like, well, Jalen Hurts. No, Super Bowl MVP, Jalen Hurts. Or Jalen Hurts, the Super Bowl MVP in 59. Now you got to say them things. David Archer with a $5 super chat. Here we go. Jets, Ravens, Saints, Patriots, Colts, Texans, Browns, Panthers, Lions were with us, according to sources reported on ESPN. So you don't even have the Cardinals on here. So the Cardinals did us dirty? So the Cardinals really did us dirty like that? That's crazy. Jets, Ravens, Saints, Patriots, Colts, Texans, Browns, Panthers, Lions, and us. That's 10 teams. Panthers, Lions, and Saints will be the 3 NFC teams, and Jets, Raven, Patriots, Colts, Texans, Browns. Well, again, if this is the final list, which I believe David Archer, he always comes through, I'm going to confirm that with his ESPN reports, checking them after this video is over, and I will definitely confirm it in tomorrow's video. But that's a solid Shout out to the Jets, Ravens, Saints, Pats, Colts, Texans, Browns, Panthers, and Lions for siding with the Eagles. That would mean Cowboys, Giants, Commanders, Bills, Dolphins, Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, Bears, Packers, of course, Vikings, Niners, Rams, Jags, Broncos. All these teams are Packer made. Get him out of here. Mr. Manu with the $2 super chat. Dak has 2 playoff wins in 9 years. Sheesh. Jalen Hurts won 4 playoff games because the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl, just the ultimate playoff game. Jalen Hurts in one run doubled up. He doubled up 9 years of Dak Prescott. And again, Dak Prescott is a good quarterback in the regular season. But 2 playoffs in 9 years, bruh, that is just, when you see that sentence, when Mr. Manu puts that in black and white and I read it, it's, you can't help but laugh. How can you say that? Well, now it's easier for me to laugh because I'm an Eagles fan. But honestly, bro, Cowboy fans that are in here, and I see a couple of y'all, how can you honestly, I mean, like you're supposed to be hopeful for every season, I guess. I mean, all fans are supposed to be hopeful to start the season. That being said, you will never say this sentence for fun because it's no reason for you to bring that up. But go ahead, listen, wherever you're at, if you're sitting at home in the dark because you forgot to pay the electric, I don't know what to tell you. Hopefully the screen on your phone watching this is keeping it lit in your house. I'm just kidding. That being said, say this out loud and reply to me. Tell me you're not laughing after you say this. Dak playoffs. Dak has 2 playoff wins in 9 years. If you can say that with a straight face, more power to you. I just can't. Oh, man. That's crazy. 9 years, almost a decade. Sheesh. It's rough. That's real rough. Real rough. Listen, we've been live for 58 minutes. Still got 481 people in the chat. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all to death. Again, we will talk more about this and some other things. Again, we heard from Jalen Hurts. We heard from A.J. Brown. We heard from Jordan Mailata and Nick Sirianni. While they were working out in the building, you've seen Jalen Hurts with the jersey on, the red jersey, so they were definitely working out, doing some type of field activities. I like some of the things that were said, especially about the new OC, about the rookie offensive lineman. Was going to break that down today, but I figured I'd just wait and go live for the decision of this. And guess what? The Eagles made it. They needed 24 votes to ban it. They got 22 Packer-made teams to cry. And the 10 teams that stayed strong, including the Eagles, were enough to not let it get to 24. Let's see what Texas boy got to say. Bet you if they put the Eagles versus the Cowboys in the playoffs to face each other, Dak would own them like the regular season. Bro, Dak Prescott played Jalen Hurts 3 times. Okay, he won 2. Jalen won 1. Jalen, and most of the time he win, again, he beat Jalen 2 times. Jalen beat him once. Jalen got 4 years starting. Dak got 9. We're going to say total seasons. He got 5 then. Or actually, yeah, 5. Let's see how many times he beats them this year. Most of your Dak owns Philly wins came from Carson Wentz and backup quarterbacks ourselves. Relax. That era is done. Absolutely done. The new era is here, which is Jalen Hurts, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 dub, and counting. Appreciate you, Mr. Manu. Love the default picture you got as well. On that note, like I said, I love y'all to death. Appreciate the support. If you didn't hit the like button yet, hit the like button. The Push Tush, aka Brotherly Shove, lives on. Go Birds and push on. We out.